Am I the a-hole for kicking out my vegan sister after she threw away my dog and I's food? So a few weeks ago, my sister broke up with a longtime boyfriend of 3 years. They lived together, so I opened my home to her and let her stay until she got back on her feet. She's a hardcore vegan, and while I don't care about her dietary choices, I do not believe she should push it on others the way she does so heavily. So anyways, a few days into her staying at my home, I got home from work to see my fridge was almost empty. I thought maybe she had cleaned the fridge for me, but just 2 days ago I went shopping and bought things like bacon, steak, etc. to make my lunches. I went into her room and I asked her what happened to all my food. I figured it was just some sort of mistake, but she informed me that she purposefully cleansed my life of all the dead animals I eat in the street. At first, I didn't even believe it, but then it spiraled into a huge argument where she slammed the door in my face. In my own home. I called my mother to let her know what was going on and to get her opinion, where I ended up getting a scolding for how I treated my sister, and how I should know she is going through a lot. At that point, I just hung up because obviously I'm not going to be happy when $50 worth of food is just thrown out for no good reason. Despite this, I figured I would appease my other family members and let her stay, but I let her know she was on thin ice with me. The following day I fed my dog and went to work. I told her she was not to touch any of my belongings or throw anything away or I would kick her out. She protested, but I told her I was serious and left. When I returned home, my dog's bowl was empty, so I went to refill it in case he was hungry again later on. When I go to get the food, it's gone. I barged into her room and asked her what's the deal with the food being missing. She said she threw out my dog's food and fed him bread instead. My dog isn't even supposed to have gluten. It makes him itchy. She then got in my face telling me the dogs are happier living a vegan lifestyle. I told her my dog would be happier with her living a lifestyle outside of my home, and told her she had 8 hours to get her stuff and go to my mother's. I went out to buy more dog food, and once I returned, not only was her room a wreck, but my dog was gone. I called my mother to explain the situation, and asked if she had a dog with her, and she exploded on me again about how awful I was for not supporting my sister, and that the dog was not at the house with her. A mutual friend of ours let me know she had a dog at my mother's house. However, my mother and sister continued to spin the story to our family, and now they all refuse to speak to me, especially since I had the police help me retrieve him. Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister stay in my home despite pushing her vegan lifestyle on me and my pet? Edit. I was starting to feel conflicted on if I really was being sick and overdramatic for kicking out my sister in need, or if my family really does just enable her. And just to be clear, the dog is safe. I made sure to note I got the police involved, and the dog is currently with me. Edit 2. For more clarification, since people keep asking, my sister and mother only have a 15-year age difference. They're more like friends than mother and daughter. My mother would do anything to please her. I, on the other hand, was born after my father died, and my mother held some sort of resentment to me, which is why I left the home at 18, while my sister stayed until 22 years of age. I didn't have much contact for a while, but when I heard she needed help, I thought this would mend things. Obviously, it did not. It made my relationship with my family worse. They are both vegan, and it also seems they told other family members that I shoved or hit her, which never happened. I am considering fully cutting ties. However, I am worried since she knows my home address. Edit 3. She didn't stay at my mother's because she was housing my aunt and her children for Thanksgiving, which of course I was not invited to. I saw my sister on Facebook saying she needed a place to stay, and this whole big long sob story, so I took her in. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Crazy vegan breakdown aside, someone who messes with your dog is someone not worth being around. Holy cow. As a vegan, the sister is a complete and total a-hole. She seems desperate to gain control after her breakup, and is misusing her ethical stance to exert control in her new environment. It's not about animal welfare, it's about being in charge. I don't like the meat aisle, but I don't damage the grocery store in a fit of rage. The sister and the mom need to buzz off. Can I be pressed charges for dog napping? Not stay home. Dogs are happier vegans. Dogs are naturally carnivorous. Your sister doesn't know squat. She had no right to touch anything of yours in your own home. Some nerve. Think we know why her relationship broke down. There's a huge case of entitlement and narcissism here. She believes her beliefs and circumstances allow her complete control of her environment when she's a guest, and in complete contradiction of being a good guest. She dog-napped an innocent doggo. It's obvious where she was enabled, the people who are defending her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my wife selfish and ungrateful when she suggested we cut back on saving for our son's college, rather than spending for her entertainment? I, male 29, work full-time to support my son, 15 months old, and wife, 28. She's unemployed but is a stay-at-home mom and we're both happy with that, usually. Recently, money's been tight as I haven't been bringing as much home. I work in sales on commission, so I've been trying to figure out how to make ends meet while looking for a better job. We spend about $60 a month on a 4 to 5 streaming services, HBO/Netflix, etc. And my wife spends about $50 a month in mobile games, and over $100 in ordering lunch through Uber Eats. I wouldn't mind if we could afford it, but right now we can't. When I brought up cutting back, she said streaming services and mobile games were the only breaks she had from working at keeping up the house and caring for our son, and ordering out made lunchtime a break instead of more work for her. I asked her to please stop ordering out and to get rid of some of the streaming services or the mobile games. She said that's silly, and it was the hair dye and teeth whitening I pay for that was why we're short each month, and I shouldn't be so vain and to give this up for the family. I spent about $150 for them every few months, and if it was just me that'd be one thing, but I get both done for work. Believe me, I wish it wasn't the case, but people are just more open and friendly with me when I'm not a ginger dude with brown teeth. I don't want to have to do it, but I feel I have to, so I'm on a level playing field. I said she had plenty of time to relax when I got home, since I always cook and clean up after dinner and take care of our son until bedtime. She told me that doesn't mean anything when she can't do the things she enjoys, as if she didn't enjoy spending time with me, and that we would have plenty of money if I didn't put $200 a month away for our son's college fund. I reminded her we agreed to this before our son was born, and that if we didn't keep at it, we weren't going to have enough when he turns 18. She said we didn't even know if he wanted to go to college yet, and that I had no idea how hard it was raising a child. I have plenty experience feeding and changing diapers, and that our work at home is just as stressful as my job if not more. I might be the a-hole already, but this is the part that really stuck with me. I said she was ungrateful for the work I was doing, and selfish to think of her own entertainment over providing for our son. She snapped back at me that I was being abusive both emotionally and by trying to withhold money. And at that point, I was just floored and walked out. I'm hiding away in my home office now. She's never said anything like that to me before. And to be honest, I don't really know what she means as far as withholding money, since I've always given her what she asks for, as far as I can remember. Is it really abusive to cut back on spending? Did I go too far? Edit. I wasn't very clear on the Uber Eats thing. So for people asking questions, I don't know exactly how much it is, as I haven't ever added it all up, but it's 3 times a week, so between $100 and $400 a month. Also, I appreciate you all for taking time to share your thoughts. Not the a-hole. $50 in mobile games a month? The heck is that all about? There are games you can buy for $10 and play for hundreds of hours. Introduce her to Stardew Valley or Minecraft or something. Uber Eats is just a goddamn scam. Get rid of that BS immediately. Tell her to rotate streaming services. I doubt she's watching HBO, Disney+, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Hulu, enough each month to make each of them worth it each month. I rotate them on a monthly basis. 1 month is HBO month, next is Hulu month, next is Disney month, etc. Don't sacrifice your kid's future for you or your wife's momentary pleasure. Not the a-hole. Get rid of Uber Eats. That one is fair. You bring a lunch to work and so does your wife. Uber Eats is such an expensive and so unnecessary. Deleting the app saved me money. No, you're not abusive and she should apologize for saying that. You're trying to keep the family financially afloat, not blocking her access to money. Tell her half the game's gotta go, but the streaming services are needed as a parent. How else do you drown out your children screaming and playing? There are games that don't cost money monthly. You cut back too. Also, if being a stay-at-home mom is too much for her, she can go to work 40 hours a week and cover daycare. I appreciate how hard staying home can be, but sometimes that extra $400 to $500 a month they can make above and beyond childcare costs can be a night and day difference to household finances. Plus, she gets time out of the house. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for confronting my friend and ruining our kids' friendship? Okay, I'll try to keep this short. So I have this BFF, 40s female, that is man-hungry. She picks these men who are all sorts of wrong, is a serial wife and legit flip-flops from one ex back to the other and plays them against each other. She constantly comes for advice, and I've gotten to the point of telling her that I think she's making a mistake, but I'll support her no matter what. I always felt she's a good person and means well, but kinda screwed up in a few things. No big deal. She has 2 kids my kid's age and they were super close. We were like a little family. We were always together. She randomly last minute asked me over summer to watch one of her kids for a week due to some work conference. I was in the middle of a house renovation and sharing a room with my kid. I wanted to help, but it was impossible. I felt awful and I told her no. But then I tried to help by seeing if the conference she was going to had a Zoom option, which is when I found out there was no conference at all. She was very specific with immense detail that then proved easy to double-check. Her ex lived in a neighboring state. I never told her I knew, but then she kept giving me details of her trip that proved that she was in fact going to a state and not where she said. She texted at the airport, she texted me about events in real time, and none of it was true. I was super disappointed that she lied and tried to manipulate me with a working single mom angle instead of just being honest. But in the end, I decided to never let her know that I knew. She kept lying about the trip after the fact too, which pissed me off, but I tried to big picture it that our kids were besties. And she was probably embarrassed, so just let it go. Flash forward a few weeks to her wanting to get her kids some passes for something that we had passes for. But my passes were restricted, so I had one last day to upgrade them so we could go together. I spoke to her a lot about the cost, made sure she was buying them, then upgraded to the tune of $300. Every time I tried to make plans, there was some lame excuse. Then she started pulling away, canceling plans, etc. Every time I tried to make plans for these tickets, there would be another excuse. Like one kid's birthday. Let's use our ticks. No, they're grounded. Then she takes an impromptu road trip with them to the zoo and posts it on Facebook. Gave me some lame excuse that it was last minute. Whatever. Final straw was she canceled for my kid's birthday party. She said her kids were sick. Then I see them on Facebook at the beach. So finally, I confronted her and told her I was upset she lied about a party. She then said, I'm not a liar. To which I then just snapped and unleashed a barrage of, like the passes you said you bought? Like the conference that you never went to, etc. We never spoke again, and now our kids don't either. I feel so badly that this mom drama ruined our kids' friendship. Am I the a-hole for confronting her? Edited to add. Time frame was we were friends for years, and the trip lie to my kid's birthday was roughly a month and a half. Not the a-hole. Your kids will make new friends, and so will you. I do feel sad that I was so wrong about her, and truly cared for her and was there for her in many different ways that were outside my comfort zone. But I have a full life, and cutting someone out when I'm done is pretty much my go-to. I have another friend who pretty much gets past everything with everyone, and they all find a way to heal and move on. I don't know how to do that, and sometimes I wonder if I should learn. But ultimately, I really don't want to. Wondering if it's healthier? I don't know. I'm probably overthinking it. Not a-hole. She's a fake and a flake. You probably saved your kids heartache later on. You'll probably find out that they didn't like this woman or her kids all that much. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my boss no to working weekends when my coworkers don't? I got hired for this salary job where they really hyped up the work-life balance and reasonable hours and job interview. Like the way that they never expect people to stay late or work on weekends or holidays. That turned out to be BS. My boss got my personal phone number off my resume from when I applied, and after not long, he was blowing up my phone on nights and weekends, asking me to come work. I'd always not answer. Then when he'd ask on Monday why I wasn't answering my phone, I'd pull out my work phone like, sorry, are you sure you had the right number? I'm not seeing any missed calls. I'd often say called my own cell, so I'd say that I don't really use it much. I leave it home a lot. And when I do check, I've usually got like 40 missed calls. And my voicemail is always full, so I probably miss stuff unless I'm expecting a call at a certain time. And that if he needs to reach me, he should try my work phone because I'm very careful to follow up on any call to that within one business day. He asked me how he could reach me outside of 9 to 5, because he sees I leave my work phone on my desk at night and over the weekend. I said that honestly, I'm not glued to any phone on the weekend, so if he needs me to take a call on the weekend, could he make it a meeting request and put it on my calendar, so I know to be available? Or if I know I won't be available to take a call, I can suggest an alternate time to call. He said that wasn't really gonna work for him. More often things come up last minute, and when he calls people on the weekend, it wasn't planned. And that is not calling for a teleconference meeting. He's calling asking people to come in. I said that on the weekends, I usually have commitments that were made 1 to 3 weeks out, and I'm not often able to cancel a previous commitment with under a day notice. So if he needs me in on a weekend, it'd be best if he could schedule that 3 weeks out, so that I know not to make conflicting plans. He said that wasn't possible, and I said okay. He could try and reach out and I'd answer the phone if I heard it ringing, but I wasn't always on the phone, so I might not catch it always. Anyway, I've gone back to ignoring his calls, and my coworkers have gotten kind of frustrated with me saying that coming in on weekends is part of the job, and that I wasn't pulling my weight. I said that I don't know what job they signed on for, but in my job interview, I was promised regular hours, and took my pay based on regular hours. So I'm working regular hours. My coworkers got frustrated, and said that if everyone did what I was doing, nothing would get done. I said maybe nothing should get done then, if it's coming at the cost of y'all not being home for dinner with the family. I don't really think my coworkers see it as an option to say no, so they're angry at me because I'm doing it and they're not comfortable doing it. Am I the a-hole for not working evenings or weekends? Not the a-hole, but I'd start looking for a new job. This is the answer. I oftentimes don't get why people come to the sub with the work stuff. I mean, some interpersonal issues between people at the same level make sense. But when people have issues with their boss, or the company, or HR, or something, I just don't get it. Because you can be not the a-hole all day, and it means absolutely nothing, since you're still the one who is going to lose the battle. And I hope you will absolutely lose this one, bearing them being so great at their job that they're irreplaceable, which is unlikely. Not the a-hole, but be prepared to be fired soon. Your coworkers and boss are going to be looking for any reason to get you in trouble. And if you are on probation, expect to be let go. I know it sucks, but that's the way these companies bootlickers work. Good on you standing your ground, and shame on the company for lying to you about the job.
Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he has to decide between me attending his wedding and accepting I won't take part in the family unity ceremony, or accept I won't be there? My dad's engaged to his partner of about 2 years. They moved in together last month, and their wedding is in December. I, 17 male, am my dad's only biological kid. His almost wife has 3 kids of her own. Her kids are younger, like under 10. Maybe they're even all under 8. I'm not that sure. They decided they want to do a family unity ceremony and have it be about becoming one family instead of the 2 of them just being a married couple. Her kids are excited by the idea and want to take part. I don't and won't take part. I already explained to my dad that I'm not interested and can't be talked into it. He asked me why and pushed for me to reconsider. He told his fiancée, and she's freaking out because her kids have this idea that they'll get a big brother out of this marriage, and my dad and she told the kids will be real siblings once the 2 of them are married. All of this despite the fact I really don't know her or her kids. I've only spent any real time with the kids twice, and it was more me trying not to be a prick than me wanting to spend time or get to know them. I think that's obvious because I don't even know their actual ages. Some background to explain some relationship dynamics, because I'm sure there are questions. My dad raised me alone. My mom took off when I was less than a year old. I don't remember her. I don't remember her being around. Her family wasn't around or in my life either. I didn't have a lot of family besides my dad growing up, except for one of his siblings. And for most of my life, Dad was a good dad. But when I was maybe 11, he started preparing me for the fact he wanted his own life and to travel the world when I turned 18, and I'd be on my own. He talked about how I shouldn't expect to see him very often, and to expect we might not see each other for years sometimes, and how he didn't want to be tied down until he dies, that he would call or answer calls when he wasn't busy with life. He said some stuff that made me believe he resented the fact he raised me alone and had to change his life for me. He never actually let up on that. He talked about it so much that we started to fight. I told him I got it. that he was done being a dad at 18, and he told me I was being dramatic. I argued that he told me I could go 5 or even more years without seeing him, and that he didn't want to be tied down, that he might even ignore calls so he could live life. I told him that sounded like he wanted to stop being a dad. He told me I focused on the wrong parts. When we argued about it other times, he said that he wanted the life he missed out on, and he wasn't waiting around for me to be ready, that I'd land on my feet eventually, and I wouldn't be his kid anymore. I'd be his peer, which he then said I misunderstood. But basically, for years I have been prepared to leave at 18 and not have my dad in my life. Then he met his almost wife, and all that talk about traveling the world was gone. He started to become a dad to her kids. He was spending time with them and building a life with them. Eventually, he tried to include me, but that was only really in the last 4 or 5 months. I've ignored it. I did babysit twice for them. Once when his almost wife was rushed to the hospital, and the second time when she had follow-up surgery for health issues she has. My dad has tried to argue that our family's growing, and I should be trying harder to be included in it. I told him that won't happen, and if he wants whatever half-hearted relationship he planned to have with me before, then he needs to accept that I'll come to his wedding if he wants me there. As long as he accepts, I won't be a part of that ceremony. And if he can't accept it, then I won't go, and he'll need to accept that. His almost wife heard us talk it out and said, I'm not taking the 11 good years into account, and I'm punishing her children for my dad not being perfect, and that isn't fair to them. She told me a good person would be glad dad decided to stick around and love the new people, especially the kids, and want better for them. Am I the a-hole? And for full disclosure, I have about a month to go until I'm 18, and my plan is to move out that day. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your dad set the parameters of your relationship when you were still young and drummed them into your head. Now that his priorities have changed, he acts surprised that you are not interested in a different relationship. Go live your life. He must have expected me to be the same upset 11-year-old who first found out what his dad had planned. But I knew he was serious, so I thought about and planned for when that time comes. Exactly. I'm just thinking I'm little you, hearing all this and wondering what your future would hold if you couldn't make it on your own at 18. This is not a good parent, by the way, regardless of how you may have felt he was good to you before all that. 11-year-old me was so sad and worried. It felt like nobody wanted me. My mom hadn't wanted me and left, and my dad was basically saying he regretted sticking around to raise me and would leave once he wouldn't get in trouble for it. I had no idea what I was going to do. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying okay when my mom's husband said he won't be coming to my wedding? My 29 female was supposed to be getting married last year, but my dad died days before the wedding, and I couldn't go through with it. Luckily, the venue we had chosen was willing to reschedule us at short notice on compassionate grounds. Our new wedding date is this summer. My mom's husband announced a couple of weekends ago that he won't be coming to my wedding. I said okay, and moved on in the conversation I was having with someone else. He was seething with rage over my response, and asked me if okay was really all I could say. No question about why or trying to change his mind. I told him I had expected this, and that he basically told me he was going to do this last year anyway, so why would I pretend to be shocked or beg? To provide some more context, my mom married her husband when I was 15. I didn't get to know him before the wedding, so I met him at 15. I don't consider him a father figure, and I never called him my stepdad. My older siblings felt the same way. He never put much effort in with them because they were 18 and 21 when he married mom, so I guess he felt like they were fine without him. But it always felt kinda weird because I wasn't some little kid either, and I had an involved dad. Last year added some tension. He ended up in the hospital 2 weeks before the wedding and wouldn't have made it if the day had gone ahead then. He was bitter that I rescheduled because dad died, but not so he could be there. There were also some hard feelings over me planning to walk down the aisle and dance with dad, and not him. He whined about it a few weeks after dad died and said he wouldn't come if he was so unimportant. At the time, I said nothing because my grief was fresh. But now I'm just like, okay, because I don't care if he's there or not. I really don't. His presence will not make or break my wedding. He felt like I should have argued for him to come, and Mom said my okay was dismissive and rude. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Sounds like it's for the best. He's kind of a needy man-child, isn't he? Not the a-hole. I guess little man baby wanted you to be upset, beg him to come. Honestly, you handled this perfectly. Indifference is always the answer when someone is clearly trying to get a reaction. Any other response gives them the win. Indifference shows them that they are not important enough to you to care. He did. He wanted me to show him I cared oh so much. He expected me to plead with him and even expected tears, I think. The fact is, he's still bitter. I didn't reschedule my wedding because of his hospital stay, but did when my dad died. Not the a-hole. Stepdad sounds like a self-involved jerk, and your mother honestly sounds pretty bad as well. Your wedding is not about them. I'd recommend having some kind of plan for if A, he decides to crash the wedding, or B, your mother decides to make a scene. I have a plan in place just in case. My brother-in-law will be on standby. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to be my sister's bridesmaid because she chose ugly friends to make herself look better? My sister, 27 female, is getting married and asked me, 24 female, to be one of her bridesmaids. I was excited until I found out who the rest of the bridal party was. Every single one of them is someone she's either not that close to or has made fun of before for being awkward or not photogenic. Some of her actual best friends, the ones she sees all the time, weren't even asked. It felt weird, so I asked her why she picked this group. She kind of laughed and said, "You'll understand when it's your wedding. You don't want people who'll outshine you in your own pictures." I just stared at her. I asked, "So you picked them because you think they'll make you look better?" She rolled her eyes and said, "It's not that deep. I just want to feel confident that day, and I'm allowed to be a little selfish for my wedding." That rubbed me the wrong way. I told her I didn't want to be part of a bridal party built on tearing other people down, even subtly, and that she should have picked people she actually cares about. Now she's calling me judgmental and sensitive, and our mom says I'm being too idealistic and should just support her. But I feel like going along with it makes me complicit. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. So what does this mean about how she thinks of you? And clearly she doesn't think much about herself. It's so sad that women are pushed to feel and act this way when this would likely not be happening to so many grooms. Applause to you for saying something and not participating. She's always been like this. I am rather curvy, and she has never failed to shame me for it. She is a typical model-esque skinny person, and she got a lot of attention growing up. She's beautiful, no doubt. But yes, I have a good-looking partner, and she has subtly hinted that he could do better than me. I don't see what she has to be insecure about. She's objectively good-looking. As for my appearance, I like the way I look. I'm comfortable with it. I just don't see why she feels the need to bring others down to make herself feel better. Not the a-hole, and I'd send a message to those girls. Questions will definitely come up why none of her core group were asked, and why her sister left. Because she lumped you right in with them. I actually did. I made a group with all these people. There's a group already, but she's in it. 2 of them said that they did not want to be participating in this capacity anymore, but were fine attending. 1 person said that they weren't coming to the wedding altogether. Some still haven't responded. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex's girlfriend she isn't special, and he will do it to her too? My 30 female was only married to my ex-husband, 32 male, for 2 years. We dated for a little over a year before we got married. When we were dating, everything was fine. He had a lower libido than me, but I was fine with how often he wanted to have sex, about 2 to 3 times a week. Once we got married, that gradually dropped to maybe twice a month, and then nothing. The last time he and I had sex was on my birthday. My birthday is April 24th, so it's been almost a year now. I asked him to see a doctor. I asked him if there was anything I could do. I tried everything I could think of. He wasn't on any medication. He just wasn't interested in it. I ended up starting the divorce because I'm not living the rest of my life like this. When I started the divorce, his ex-wife asked to meet with me and said she hadn't wanted to get involved earlier because she didn't know if I was asexual as well, but that he had done the same thing to her and the girlfriend before her. We are still working on the divorce. Thankfully, it is a fairly easy process since we weren't married long and none of our assets were merged, bank accounts, property, etc. We also do not have any children together. Anyway, he is now dating a woman named Amy, 24. Amy has shown up to every divorce hearing lately and acts smug about it, like she's winning some sort of prize. She has told me he has sex with her all the time and that I just wasn't meeting his needs. I ended up telling her he did the exact same thing to me. He did it to his other ex-wife and he did it to the girlfriend before her. She isn't special, and give it a few months. He won't continue this. He is asexual. He's just trying to lock her in before he goes cold on her. She looked shocked and just said she doubts that, then left. Later, my ex called and was mad. He said she's thinking about leaving after what I said and has gotten in contact with some of his exes. I don't really feel sorry for him because it's underhanded and holish to do that to people. But I do kind of feel bad for ruining his relationship. I told him he should stop doing this and find someone who is also asexual, or he will never be happy in a relationship. I'm not sure if I was an a-hole for telling her, but I felt like she should know he's doing the same thing to her that he did to us. And I wish someone would have told me before I married him. I wasn't super nice about it because she ticked me off, but still, I felt like she should know she wasn't the special one who would fix him. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She was smug. You told her the truth. If he keeps doing the same thing, that's on him, not you. Not the a-hole. If you had gone rogue and told her this without provocation, then sure, maybe you'd be the a-hole. But she was the one bragging about how much sex they were having to her boyfriend's soon-to-be ex. That kind of opened the door free and clear to you to tell her that won't always be the case. You weren't being mean. You were being honest. You told her the truth based on your experience and others. If someone had warned you, maybe you would have been spared a lot of pain. She deserved to know what might be coming. Last story. Am I the a-hole for going into detail of my crappy day to make a mother leave me alone? I, 22 female, have blonde hair that goes past my hips. I love my hair and put a lot of work into maintaining it, but you can imagine the comments I sometimes get, being compared to Rapunzel, etc. And normally I laugh this off. If it's a little kid, I indulge them more often than not, as it's cute. I've had a really rough day. My 11-year-old dog had to be put down due to cancer, and I went from the vets to a cafe, not wanting to go home and see her things and be reminded of it all over again. So I'd been sitting at a table with a coffee, waiting for my boyfriend, 23 male, to finish work and come meet me, when a mother and her daughter, who looked about 8-ish, I don't know, I'm not good with kids' ages, it's a guesstimate, came up to me and asked if her daughter could take a picture with me because I looked just like Rapunzel. As I said, normally I'd indulge this, but I was not in the mood. I was in a low mood and had been crying a lot, so I felt gross. I told them thank you for the compliment, but I didn't want to take a picture. The mother got really upset with me and told me I didn't have to be rude and that I didn't even smile, that it would cost me nothing to be nice, and that her daughter was just a kid. I admit I lost my temper at this and told her I wasn't a Disney cast member for her to badger. That she asked, and I said no, that I had just put my dog down and was hiding at this cafe because I was dreading going home to a house without my dog. That I had no interest in posing and putting on a happy face to take a picture with her child. I also started to cry again. She got very flustered at this and rushed her child away. My boyfriend finally got to the cafe around half an hour later, and I told him what had happened. He told me I took it too far, that just because I was having a crappy day didn't mean I needed to make other people's crappy too. I ended up going home not long after. Maybe I was too rude, I don't know. It's too late to do anything about it. She was a stranger. I just feel raw emotionally. My boyfriend might be viewing my actions with a clearer head than I am. Not the a-hole. People feel so entitled. Once politely declining, the mother should have walked away. I'm sure you weren't looking smiley and happy like Rapunzel. This is a lesson for the kid. Don't talk to strangers? Kidding kinda. Honestly, I have no idea why she'd have wanted me in a picture with her kid. I didn't have a mirror on hand, but no way was my face not a blotchy mess. Not the a-hole. That idiot had no business bothering you at all, let alone getting angry when you said no. I see this a lot here. No is a complete sentence. Now, as long as you weren't rude to the 8-year-old, the entitled mother deserved the trauma dump. Oh, absolutely not. No matter how upset I was, I'd never take it out on a child. I'd have sooner removed myself from the cafe before that if it was the kid badgering me.